Hello. Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. All that good stuff. I am trying something new this time. I have a new mic and a new headset and a new computer, all of that. So hopefully the sound will come across great. And there's no issues, but usually have to work things out. So anyway, have a couple of announcements and of course things I want to show you, and then we'll go through the regular recap stuff. So first I wanted to announce that we are doing an upgraded premium service, and these are the premium channels that you will have access to. What it will be is you'll get daily and weekly playlists from the three of us, myself, Kiki, and Fidel. And then you'll also have regular questions that can be asked, educational spots for Q&As, and then we'll be doing educational voice sessions as well. So I wanted to announce that, and also it'll be, we have not Strat bots, but stock bots that will help you learn to use, and live futures trading as well, things like that. So we are offering our members 20% off of the service. It's going to be $100 a month, so we'll do 20% off lifetime. So that'll make it $80 a month if you're interested in that. And we'll still be doing these same weekly study sessions every Saturday at 1. That's still going to be for everybody in the Discord, and we'll still be active in the members chat and things like that. So I just wanted to mention that to show you guys that. And then my class, for anyone who is interested, or if you know someone who needs to learn just the basics of charting support and resistance, I do have that a class that I'm doing. It's a little last minute, but it's next Saturday after the study time from 2 to 3:30. So if contact me if you want more information about it, and I'll put the link on the in the video as well. But okay, so this is what I wanted to show you guys. So last week we talked about Frank's scanner, right? And how it's really comprehensive and really good on helping you find plays for the week or for the day or anything like that. So what I wanted to show you this week was just how it looks when you take what's on his scanner and import it into a watch list. It's really concise. As you can see over here, like I have the weekly list, and then it gives you by sector, financials, what's going on, the actionable signals that are bullish, the actionable signals that are bearish, utilities. I mean, it just goes through all the sectors and gives you what's bullish and what's bearish. And you can just sit here and just click on these and kind of go through and see what you want. For this weekly one, as you can see, there's 60. And so, this thing is just so dope. I'm finding new things. I mean, I saw that before, but I never imported it into the watch list. So you can even do it by the 50% rule, because he has a 50% scan rule. And by the quarter, you just import it in here and scroll through it. Now, the way you do it is you have to, he has it written out on his, on the actual spreadsheet, but you just import it into a text file. And then you go up here and click, no, that's the wrong one. Import list, and then you import it as a text file like that. So as you saw, I had like monthly and 50, and then whatever you import it as, it'll name that watch list as that. So, and then you could, if you run out of watch list, just delete it and import a new one. So that's the quarter, and then here's the month and what's active. And then another one was the monthly. So like it's the same thing as the weekly, where it basically breaks it down and makes it into this watch list. So that's really cool. I really like this, actually, as far as just, this is a lot, as you can see. But what I think the best thing for you to do is, if you have certain stocks that you watch on a regular basis, like I do, you can just scroll through here and see, oh, in technology, or what is this? This is, yeah, technology. Apple's in here as a bullish, because you know I watch Apple all the time. Or if I'm down here and I don't do real estate anymore, consumer discretionary, oh, I see CCL is has triggered the actionable signal on the month. So it's things like that. This can help you just scroll through and kind of look for your favorite stocks and just see what they are doing on the month, and then you can kind of condense your watch list from that. But this will help as far as replacing RevStrat. And then next week, what I'll have for you is I'll break down Jamal's scanner, because Jamal had, like, if that's okay, and let me know if it's not okay, Jamal, but he had a scanner that I kind of broke down into where you can scan for strat combos as well. So we'll do that next week, show you guys that on Thinkorswim. So yeah, that's the monthly, and then I think that was it. Yeah, so we can go into the regular stuff. So we are going to do these, let me double check something real quick, make sure. Okay, yeah. All right, so I just wanted to look at the major stuff and just kind of get a general idea of where it is. What I really just wanted to point out was this 200. I have both the EMA and the MA up here just because to me they both make a difference, and that's the only one I have both. But it's slight differences. You'll see a bigger difference with SPY. Slight differences here, they're kind of like in the same area, but the Dow is above it. So we know that when something's above the 200 on the day, that's generally bullish if it holds. So you see the Russell 2000 is trying to break above. The NASDAQ is still below. And then the VIX has broken below the 200. So this looks like a pretty, well, yeah, it broke this support here too. So if it keeps going, if we stay bullish, looks like the VIX can continue to go down. Looks like we have a little gap here too. The VIX may go for this gap, which if we continue looking bullish like we've been looking, then that makes sense that it will fill that. So that's those. And then our regular things. Why is this on the month? Oh yeah, I wanted to look at it on the month first. Apple is still inside month right now, but SPY has triggered the 2 up on the month. Microsoft has not yet. This does not have the 50% rule on it, but Microsoft has triggered the 50% rule on the month. So if it does finish, then it will hit this 252 target. And then the Qs also triggered the 2 up on the month. So of course, if Microsoft continues to go, then the Qs will go. And then, yeah, so actually still inside Apple could 2 up on this month here. 158. Next target would be 164. So if Apple, really pushes and 2 up on the month, and then Microsoft does this outside, we can expect the Qs and SPY to continue. However, we are at a hard resistance, and we know that. Looking at it on the week, Apple's inside week, so this is actually a good trigger for it to continue to 1-2 up to that 155. No actionable signal in the week here or here, but Apple does have one. So you know that if Apple goes, then it will push everything else. On the day, though, we do have to point out this 200. SPY hasn't quite hit it just yet. It's at 401. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Now, this is the EMA and this is the MA. The reason I wanted to point out to you before is a bigger gap here is that this to me is a harder resistance than the EMA, and here's why. The last time we bust above it, we found some resistance here, but then we made it all the way to the 200 before we got all the way shorted. So I would expect that we would do the same thing, that we would have enough strength to make it to the 200. before coming back down. So here it was a much bigger gap right there. So it's a little bit tighter here, but I still would expect that it could possibly do this. And this 407 coincides with the monthly, which monthly target is right around 412. Yeah, 412. So yeah, it would be 407. There's a gap here. It could try to fill at 408. So I mean, even if it doesn't finish all the way to the monthly target, it could definitely go and try to fill this gap here. So just the strength of it on the day, just not sure yet. I mean, we do know it's overextended though, super overextended, but a lot of these stocks had kicking bull patterns on the day. I mean, they all look like that. They were down and then boom, boom. So interesting to kind of see what we do. Like I said, the Apple, we do have that trigger there, but we do kind of need some type of correction. And y'all know when we're far away from the EMAs, we usually can anticipate it at least coming back to test it, get some type of correction going. So we'll have to see kind of what it gives us. But I mean, the Qs kind of have a nice W pattern right there. It was an inverse head and shoulders, and then it negated and came back down, but then it found support here. So it kind of made more of a W. So we can continue, expect it to continue up. Microsoft actually made another lower low. So that's how I kind of knew that would bust out, because there was no shorts left there. So we did speak about that last week. And then Apple, no, it did not make a lower low. It did not. So, but it found support there, so we can expect that to keep going. I guess CPI numbers were good. Also, I wanted to not good, but people really liked the numbers that came out, but PPI numbers come out on Tuesday. Not sure if that will do anything. I don't really go based off that, but I do understand when economic events happen. So yeah, so that's kind of what I'm seeing there. And then to the other things, I wanted to do that with those because we talk about those all the time. But let's look at IWM. It's also triggered 2 up on the month. So hide these. So 189, 190 would be the target for that. And remember, these are small caps, so it's following those, kind of following what everything else is doing. Looking at it on the week, it found some support and has a nice W there. So in XLE, we have been watching, and it's going. You think it's time to short it, and it's not. And it's interesting because I was ready to short it here. I was like, all right, we're breaking down, but it found support. And you can see that since it crossed over here, it's basically found support either at the 8 or the 20. So followed everything else. If anything, it may rev strat to just fill this gap as a correction, but yeah, could also double top here. So we'll just have to see kind of what energy is doing, but we always watch it. We always want to watch it because it's been like the biggest mover this year, one of the best movers actually. So McDonald's, wanted to point out that we have this reversal. It did not finish the outside week, but I always like to point out when it doesn't finish that the next week it could finish, and then it may want to come back and test this 8. Another thing I wanted to point out was the pattern here. I always talk about head and shoulders, right? Here's a shoulder, here's a head. So it would ideally need to make a shoulder here, and then it could fall. So just wanted to point that out. And of course, we have been watching Snow. Snow did kind of what everything else did. Looking at it on the month, it basically took them out, and I don't know if that it would have the strength to keep going, especially since the bulls stepped back in and most of the market is green. So if it's going to reverse, then if you do have a 2 down 2 up on the week here, and if you look at it scrolling out, if it can find the strength to push out of here, it may actually break this downtrend, because this will count as a higher low. So we like Snow because Snow is a good mover. It can give you, when you get that direction right, it can really pay. So I would think that it would come back up and test this 200. As you see, that's been kind of the pattern. Test the 200, comes back down. The 8 or the 21, test it again. Couldn't quite test it there. So also have to see, because also on this daily, it has been making lower highs. So this may have been its only strength, and then wants to come back and fill this gap. Either way, we should watch Snow because it's a good mover, and we've been watching it for so long. So Nvidia has earnings this week. Wanted to talk about that. It has already been on a run since its low. It filled this gap here. We have a nice inverse head and shoulders here, and then this 200. Now you see that it has not broken above the 200 in a very, very, very long time. So earnings could do it, but that would be my first real resistance right here. Is this 171.20. Looking at it on the month, it has triggered the month to the upside, and we do have full time frame continuity that is green. So the target here would be 192.69 on the month. Nvidia earnings could do that, because they blow their earnings out the water. This thing can really, really run. So just have to see what it does. As long as it's trading under this 200, I wouldn't be too bullish. But with this kind of bottom curl and up and good earnings, this could definitely be a really good mover. And also, I'm just going to point out this gap. It's a gap here at 260. I mean, that's a whole $100 away, so crazy. But we have to point out these gaps. And then 231. And we like to point them out because a lot of times, as you can see, there's a fair value gap there. There may be orders waiting to be filled there, so price may move up there. I always want to know where it can go, right? So, of course, talking about Nvidia, we got to talk about SOXL, because this will be a cheaper way to play Nvidia earnings, because Nvidia is expensive on its own. But with earnings and inflated IV, that's just is crazy. So XOXL looks exactly the same. So the gaps here would be this 32. Actually, that's really high from 13. I doubt that XOXL will get that high, honestly. This is the gap. Yes, 1433. I knew I saw a gap. So yeah, the gap here is at 1433. And then we could possibly target this 200, especially if everything, if Nvidia really, really moves. So, and then obviously to the downside for both of these, we want to target this 8 or this gap here. BA I am mentioning because we just every once in a while we just talk about how we missed BA, right? This thing was on a tear. It's on a tear. But I have to point out that it's broken above this 200 on the day, and again, like, we look for that to be bullish. BA has not done that in a very long time. Y'all see this 200, right? It rejects. Since it's broken below, it has not been able to do that. And this is from August of last year, that it has not been able to break above it. So it's above it now. So naturally, you know, we're kind of extended here. It's been on a run. We would expect some type of correction, at least to this 8 and possibly to this 200. That's the ideal type of price action that I like to see, for it to come back and test this and then keep going. If it decides it's going to keep going, it's bullish above the 200, full time frame continuity. You have this inside day with the hammer though, so if the hammer goes in force, I would expect it to continue and just keep going. So but again, it's overextended for sure. This is actually its first resistance right here. So yeah, we can look for a little correction and then it might continue going. But I like BA. I do, especially for a both way play for next week. All right, and then before I get into this V2, give me 1 second, y'all. I know Kiki mentioned CBX, so I will tell everyone to check the study time chat in the Discord. She posted her chart for that. She's at work right now, so, and she can't go in the closet. But she likes CBX next week, for next week or with time. So calls above 186 or puts below 182. Pull this up real quick. So yeah, puts below 182, calls above 186. I'm on a daily. I should be on a 4-hour. Yeah. Yep. So I see exactly what she means. This has been respecting the 8 and the 21 very well. So have to see what CBX does, but that looks like a good play. Fidel, did I forget anything? I don't think so. We have been really focusing a lot on SPY and the futures and really trying to get that mastered. So we've been, if y'all notice, our lists have been a little shorter, and that's why. So if y'all also will look in the study time chat, Jamal posted a really dope watch list. It has observation stocks, unusual options, with a legend, insiders, earnings insiders. So lots of stuff on that watch list that he's looking at. Trying to think. I think that was it, y'all. Oh no, I'm sorry. I was supposed to go to these. So Brittany wanted to talk about retail this week. And she mentioned Target, Walmart, Cost. I'm going to mention Macy's as well, only because Macy's is a cheapie to play for earnings. So they do have earnings. They have been running and hit this 200. So depending on what their earnings look like, have to see. This is actually a good play either way. There's a gap up here to the upside, and then there's a gap to the downside. It's the last earnings. So they dropped before and then continued to drop. I kind of remember that. And then the one before that, they like boomed. So, Yeah, they haven't been above this 200 since. So earnings could actually send it either way. It's in an interesting position. It is above the 200 technically. So if earnings is good, then it could send it bullish because it has that support there. But if not, it can definitely fall. So yeah, I like Macy's. Target went crazy on Friday. Target just, whew. The only one that doesn't have a gap though. So yeah, Target earnings, remember we have this huge gap from the last earnings. And if you notice, like, we gapped down, kept falling, but then sort of it's been recovering ever since. Let me look at this one, because I mean it fell so much that time. Like, how much more could it go? I mean, this is almost a head and shoulders on the mo. Yeah, I'll see it. So again, either way, I mean, Target has disappointing earnings. They could definitely do that. But we also have a nice double bottom here, and we found some support. So, and that huge gap to the upside. Honestly, I would really expect, if it can make it past this resistance, I would expect for earnings to help it fill that gap. I honestly don't remember why that earnings was so bad, because I mean, it's Target. But yeah, this could definitely be, it could be like a Netflix 2.0, because Netflix had that really bad earnings, and then they had a huge gap, and then the next earnings was better than expected, so it actually zoomed. Didn't quite fill the gap, but it did move. So we do want to keep that in mind, though, because it does have a big old gap up here. And Walmart, I've been talking about Walmart for a while. It is not doing anything. It hasn't done anything for the last couple of weeks. So this is probably what they're waiting for. They're waiting for earnings to kind of see what's going to happen. It has recovered since that last, Target and Walmart both had that horrible drop, and it's almost filled the gap, but it hasn't yet. So it can still go for this gap, or it could fall back down. But again, it's Walmart, and we're back above the 200. So just kind of have to see. This is kind of like a cup and handle here. And then lastly, there is cost. Cost has earnings as well. I do not normally play cost, and I wish Brittany was here to talk about cost because for me, cost is very, very expensive. But there's probably something else you can play that's cheaper than this. But again, we are above the 200 on the day. So for me, we broke above here, barely broke below, and then broke back above. If it can find support here, then I would expect it to continue. On the month, it has not triggered the monthly yet, but earnings could do that. And then if it does, and this hammer can stay in force, then we can expect it to go. This is 540, 542. So on the week, this is kind of an inverse head and shoulders. So yeah, cost could actually really fly with decent earnings. See, the last one they didn't really do, though they fell. And then the one before, they ran, so they actually gapped up. So if it dies, it's actually going to be a gap to target 440 to the downside up. Oh no, it was filled. Never mind. just barely. But yeah, that was filled, so can't really target that. But it looks bullish to me, honestly. But you know, again, I always say that earnings can trump TA, because you look bullish, and then after earnings, it'll be down here somewhere. So that's all I have for today, y'all. Let me check the chat really quickly. Oh, see, there go Jamal. Oh, QQQ is an alternative for cost. Kroger, BJ's, and Walmart. So, well, Walmart has earnings too, so that I have inflated IV, but Kroger. Kroger's above, well, it's barely. It actually closed below the 200. May find some support here though. But yeah, that's a good alternative. BJ's. I've never played BJ's, but that makes sense. And it's cheaper. Well, BJ's is just stayed above. Look at this. Just stayed above this 200. So BJ's has been bullish. But you can expect, you know, costs can fall, or if it falls, then play BJ's, or if it goes, then play BJ's. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, y'all know I'm still learning how to do this mess. So Fidel had asked me how to do this from Frank's scanner, basically how to import the watch list. And so I'm going to do this video again because it didn't record the first time. Also didn't realize that I was recording myself, but hey y'all, I look a mess and I didn't even realize it, but y'all gonna get this information, because the same way y'all didn't get, well, y'all dealt with my sound, y'all can deal with, I'll look better next week. So anyway, go here to the guide, okay, on Frank's scanner. And if you scroll down, this guide basically gives you everything you need on how to use the watch list, how to make it, and things like that. Click on this right here to get the actual, you know, how to import it into Thinkorswim. And then you can also click on here to learn how to do it on TradingView. I'm just going to show you TradingView right now because that's just the simplest, it's easiest for me. So if you go to like the whatever tab you're looking at, daily, weekly, monthly, whatever watch list you want to make, if it's the 50% rule, you're going to scroll all the way to the right, and then you're going to see your watch list right here, right? Every tab's going to have it, a watch list, watch list, watch list, right? So let's do this here on monthly. So what you're going to do is you have the option to do either sectors or all with TradingView. You don't have that option with Thinkorswim, but you know, you can customize your watch list on Thinkorswim. What you want to do, and the one I just showed you in the video, was sectors with actionable signals. You want to just click on that 3 times until it opens up like that. Well, it lights up like that to let you know that it's ready to be copied. And then you can Control C or Command Prompt C or right click and copy. And then what you're going to do is you're going to open up a text file. So for me, let's see, like Notepad. And then you're going to copy it into Notepad just like that. And you're going to save that file into whatever you want to name it. So if you're looking at a monthly, of course, you would save it as monthly. So let me make sure you can see this. It can't. So you can't see my list, but we're going to go over to TradingView to show you how to import it. So say I saved it. I saved my watch list, right? I'm going to go up here to this drop down menu and click import list. And then it's going to come up right here. You're going to, you know, I made a folder just because I like to do that. A folder with Strat scans, and I named it. And once you click on it, it's going to open up into TradingView like this. It's very, very organized, and then you can just scroll through and look at what you want to look at. So that is how to import your watch list from Frank Scanner. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Bye, everybody.